The afternoon sun cast a golden glow through the smudged windows of Maggie's diner, creating long shadows across the checkered floor. The faint hum of an old jukebox mixed with the clatter of dishes and the low murmur of conversations. Lisa Carter wiped her hands on her apron, exhaling a weary sigh. It had been another long day. For nearly a decade, Lisa had worked here, serving up coffee and scrambled eggs to people who rarely remembered her name. She had mastered the art of balancing trays and dodging customers too buried in their own lives to notice the exhaustion in her eyes. But Lisa was more than a waitress. She was a mother, a fighter, a dreamer. Still, dreams didn't pay the rent, and lately, neither did her job. Her 6-year-old daughter, Ava, was her world. A bright, curious little girl who still believed in magic, even as Lisa struggled to keep the lights on in their small apartment. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her shoulders every single day. But she never let it show. Lisa believed in kindness, even when the world was anything but kind to her. Then, on a seemingly ordinary afternoon, something changed. A man walked in. There was something about him, an aura of quiet strength, a presence that commanded the room without a word. He was older, weathered, with piercing eyes that had seen decades of life. Lisa recognized him immediately. Clint Eastwood. She nearly dropped the coffee pot in her hand. What was a Hollywood legend doing in a tiny, forgotten diner off the highway? She took a deep breath, straightened her apron, and walked toward him, her heart hammering in her chest. "Good afternoon, sir," she said, keeping her voice steady. "What can I get you?" Clint looked up, his expression unreadable. "Just a coffee, black, and whatever pie you recommend." Lisa nodded, grateful for the simplicity of the order. But as she turned to leave, his voice stopped her. "What's your name?" Lisa froze. No one asked her name. To most people, she was just Miss or Hey, you. She turned back, swallowing her surprise. "Lisa, sir." Clint nodded. "Lisa, that's a good name." Something about the way he said it made her feel seen. She returned minutes later with a steaming mug of coffee and a slice of Maggie's homemade pecan pie. As he ate, she found herself watching him, wondering what a man like Clint Eastwood thought about someone like her. She once had dreams, big ones. She had wanted to open her own bakery, a place where people could gather, feel at home, and taste something made with love. But dreams had been buried beneath bills, exhaustion, and the brutal reality of survival. Little did she know, Clint saw something in her that she had long forgotten. Clint lingered in the diner for nearly an hour, sipping his coffee, glancing around as if taking in every detail of the place. When he was done, he motioned Lisa over. "How much do I owe you?" Lisa grabbed the bill and placed it in front of him. "Just a few dollars." He nodded, pulling out his wallet. But instead of handing over the cash immediately, he took out a small piece of paper and began writing something down. Then he slid the note across the table, along with a $1,000 tip. Lisa's breath caught in her throat. Her hands trembled as she picked up the note. Inside, written in strong, deliberate handwriting, were words that struck her like lightning. "Your kindness doesn't go unnoticed. You have a fire inside you. Don't let the world put it out. Chase your dreams. You're capable of more than you think." Lisa's knees nearly buckled. For years, she had felt invisible, like just another face in the crowd. But here was Clint Eastwood, a man who had seen the world, telling her that she mattered. That night, Lisa sat at her tiny kitchen table, staring at the note under the dim glow of a flickering bulb. Her daughter Ava walked in, rubbing her sleepy eyes. "Mommy, why are you crying?" Lisa quickly wiped her tears and pulled Ava into her lap. "Mommy met someone special today," she whispered, kissing her daughter's forehead. Ava tilted her head. "Did he make you sad?" Lisa shook her head. No, baby, he made me believe in something again. And that night, Lisa made a bold decision. She took every dollar she had saved, along with Clint's generous tip, and put it toward renting a tiny space on the corner of Main Street. It wasn't much, but it was something. And for the first time in years, she felt hope stir inside her. Months later, on a crisp autumn morning, Lisa's dream became a reality. A brand new bakery opened its doors. The sign above the entrance read, "Lisa's Sweet Dreams Bakery." Inside, the warm scent of cinnamon rolls and fresh-baked bread filled the air. Lisa stood behind the counter, nervous but excited. She had worked day and night, testing recipes, fighting doubts, and pouring every ounce of herself into this place. Would anyone show up? Would people believe in her as much as Clint had? The bell above the door chimed. Lisa gasped. Clint Eastwood walked in, a knowing smile on his face. "I told you, Lisa, you had it in you all along." Tears welled up in Lisa's eyes as she handed him the very first pastry from her shop. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." Clint took a bite, grinned, and said, "Now let's see if your pie's as good as Maggie's Diner." Laughter filled the bakery as more customers walked in. Lisa wasn't invisible anymore. She was exactly where she was meant to be. And it all started with one note, from a stranger who believed in her before she believed in herself. Years later, Lisa's bakery became a beloved staple in town. People came not just for the pastries, but for the story behind it, the story of a waitress who dared to dream. One day, Lisa framed Clint's note and hung it on the bakery wall for everyone to see. Beneath it, she added her own words. "Kindness can change a life. Believe in people, even when they don't believe in themselves." Because sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness to rewrite someone's destiny.